Did you break into this man's house? The courtroom became completely silent. 26-year-old Ethan Cole stood at the defendant's table, hands shaking, eyes fixed on the floor. Across from him sat millionaire businessman Jonathan Pierce, expensive suit, perfect smile, luxury watch shining under courtroom lights. Jonathan pointed directly toward Ethan. "That thief broke into my house and stole from me." Judge Harrison looked toward Ethan. "Mr. Cole," answered the question. Long silence. Then Ethan slowly lifted his head. "Yes." The audience immediately whispered, but then Ethan said something that changed everything. "I entered his house." Pause. "But I wasn't the biggest criminal in that building." Absolute silence. 3 weeks earlier, cold rain hit downtown Chicago. The streets were almost empty. Cars passed slowly under flickering streetlights, and standing beneath one of those lights was Ethan Cole. 5 years ago, his life looked normal. Stable job, small apartment, plans for the future. Then life changed. The company where he worked suddenly shut down. Bills started stacking up. Debt followed. Then his mother got sick. Hospital bills became impossible to handle. Ethan worked temporary jobs, night shifts, construction, delivery work, anything he could find. But every month felt worse than the last. Then eventually, hope disappeared. That night, Ethan looked down at his phone. His bank account showed $18.43, that was all. $18.43. His mother's treatment payment was due the next morning, and Ethan had no idea what to do. Then he made the worst decision of his life. He walked into one of Chicago's richest neighborhoods. Large mansions surrounded him, luxury cars, security gates, perfect lawns, everything looked like another world. Then Ethan saw it, a massive modern house at the end of the street. Jonathan Pierce's mansion. 3 stories tall, dark windows, no visible movement, no cars outside. Ethan stood still, heart racing, mind fighting itself. "Walk away. Don't do this." But another voice answered, "You need money." Just once. He climbed the fence, quickly crossed the backyard, reached the back entrance, then stopped. The door wasn't locked. Ethan frowned. $1 million homes usually don't leave doors unlocked. But desperation destroys logic, slowly. He stepped inside. Everything looked unreal. Marble floors, huge paintings, glass walls. Expensive furniture, luxury everywhere. Ethan searched carefully, desk drawers, cabinets, shelves. Nothing. Then suddenly, he noticed something, a luxury watch sitting on a desk. Easily worth thousands. Ethan picked it up, hands shaking. And then he heard a sound, voices. Upstairs, Ethan froze. Jonathan Pierce was supposed to be in New York, at least according to social media. But somebody was inside. Slowly, Ethan moved toward the staircase. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. The voices became clearer. Then he reached a partially open door and looked inside. Immediately, his heart nearly stopped, because inside the room sat Jonathan Pierce and 3 other men. Stackers of cash covered the table, folders, documents, black bags, phones. And one sentence changed everything. "Move the money before federal investigators notice anything." Ethan froze. His breathing stopped because suddenly, this wasn't normal. Jonathan continued speaking. "No mistakes. Nobody talks. Nobody leaves evidence." Ethan slowly stepped backward. But then cracked file board silence. Every face turned. Jonathan stood up immediately. "Who's there?" Ethan ran downstairs, across the hallway, toward the back door. Footsteps exploded behind him. "Get him." Ethan reached outside, jumped the fence, ran through streets. Rain hit his face. His lungs burned, but footsteps kept following him. Then suddenly, headlights appeared. A black SUV stopped beside him. Door opened. 2 men stepped out. Ethan turned, trapped. He ran into an alley. Dead end. No escape. 1 man grabbed him. Another punched him. Ethan fell. Everything became blurry. Then one voice spoke quietly. "Did you see anything?" Ethan looked up. Jonathan stood there. Tell me exactly what you saw. Ethan stayed silent. Jonathan crouched beside him, smiled, and whispered, "Wrong answer." Everything went black. Hours later, Ethan woke up beside train tracks, bruised, bleeding, watch missing, wallet gone. At first, he wanted to forget everything, forget the house, forget Jonathan, forget all of it. But 2 days later, police arrived. Jonathan had reported a burglary, and security footage showed Ethan entering the mansion. Soon Ethan sat in court, charged with breaking and entering. The entire city believed one story. Ethan was a thief. Jonathan was a victim back in court. Jonathan looked calm, confident. This man entered my home and stole from me. Judge Harrison nodded. Mr. Cole, Ethan slowly stood up. Your Honor, I entered that house. I admit it. Jonathan smiled. But silence. I saw something else. Jonathan's smile disappeared. I saw cash, documents, meetings, people moving money. The courtroom exploded. Order! Judge Harrison shouted. Jonathan, he's lying. He's trying to save himself. Judge Harrison looked toward Ethan. Do you have proof? Long silence. Then Ethan slowly reached into his pocket. Yes. He placed something on the table, a small voice recorder. Bombalot silence. I grabbed it during the panic. Jonathan's face changed instantly. Courtroom staff played the recording, move the money, destroy records. No evidence. Silence, Dombalot silence. Jonathan looked terrified. Judge Harrison stared directly at him. Mr. Pierce, would you like to explain this? No answer. Then suddenly, federal agents entered the courtroom. People turned around immediately. One agent walked toward Jonathan. Jonathan Pierce, you're under arrest. The courtroom exploded. Apparently, investigators had secretly been building a case against Jonathan for months. Money laundering, fraud, illegal transfers, shell companies, millions of dollars hidden. And Ethan, a thief, accidentally walked directly into the middle of it. As officers placed handcuffs on Jonathan, he looked at Ethan, eyes full of anger. You ruined everything. Ethan looked back, then quietly said, no, pause. You did. Judge Harrison leaned back, then spoke one final sentence. Funny thing about darkness. Sometimes the person searching for the wrong thing accidentally finds the truth. As Ethan walked outside the courtroom, rain started falling again, exactly like that night. But this time, he smiled, because for the first time in years, he felt like his life wasn't over. If you were Ethan, would you have stayed silent or exposed Jonathan? Comment below.